you for being with us today. We appreciate you taking time out of your busy schedule, and hopefully you'll be able to learn something today from us. Today, just a couple housekeeping issues. This presentation will be about 30-35 minutes, and it's a presentation overview of 4 key social media opportunities that you may not be taking full advantage of, and we were trying to give you some enlightenment on it. There'll be a question and answer period after this and on the screen at the bottom right-hand side, if you have a question during the webinar that you want us to answer after, just type in the question and we'll get your questions after the presentation. We'll also be sending out a link to the PowerPoint after to a quick survey in which the 4 topics that we're going to talk about today will be discussed, and we'll ask you also to give us some input as to what subject line you would like to have us spend more time with on our next webinar. So with that, let's begin here. Again, my name is John Sonnhalter. I'm the chairman of Sonnhalter. We're a marketing organization that specializes in manufacturing and sell through distributor networks to professional tradesmen. My co-presenter today is Greg Haberman, who's the COO of SageRack, which is a digital marketing agency and a strategic partner of Sonnhalter. So there are many options that manufacturers can be engaged in social media, and we're going to focus on YouTube, SlideShare, LinkedIn, and blogs. Now you may be using some of these, and hopefully you are. God love you. If you aren't, we're going to try to give you some reasons why you should start considering using some of these things. So at this point, I'm going to turn the presentation over to Greg and let him go through YouTube and SlideShare. Greg?
Thank you, John. Yeah, as John said, my name is Greg Haberman. For those of you who I haven't met before, I'm the COO, Vice President here at SageRack. We're a digital marketing firm out of Akron, Ohio, and we're very, very honored that John invited us to co-present this webinar for you guys today. As John mentioned, I'm going to walk us through YouTube and SlideShare, and then I will turn it back over to John to cover LinkedIn and blogs. Let's see here, John. Let's see. I think I should be able to. Have you turned that over to me yet, John?
I thought I did, but I'll do it over again.
Okay.
Sorry. There. How's that?
No dice.
No dice. All right. Well then.
Sorry about the technical difficulties here, people.
I'll take control then.
Okay. Yeah. If I'll just if you can just walk us through. We're going to start today by talking at YouTube, and we're going to look a little bit at it here. There's a brand new stat came out to kind of give you an idea about, like, I'm sure you're all familiar with YouTube, but you might not be familiar with some of the different things about how it could benefit you or its size. So one of the new stats that just came out is that YouTube has 1 billion unique visitors. The last stat that they gave us was 800 million visitors a month, and they just said no, we're now at 1 billion unique visitors every month, and we see 4 billion video views every single day on YouTube. So it's massive in audience. One thing that we get a lot of questions on here at SageRack is, what is the second largest search engine? Everybody knows the first one is Google, and most people think of a search engine and they think the second one is either Yahoo or Bing, and that is actually not true. The second largest search engine in the world is actually YouTube. So people are not only watching videos, they're looking for things, particular topics in videos over there. And we now see, as you've probably noticed, that the YouTube videos are being integrated into the Google results. So there's a search engine optimization component here, if you will, and a reason for you to be involved on YouTube. Can we move to the next slide? Let's talk a little bit about its volume. So we know there's 1 billion people every month that are visiting YouTube, but you might not know how much content is being uploaded. So we're seeing an hour of video uploaded to YouTube every single second. So we got 24 full hours of video every 24 seconds, 60 hours a minute, 9 months every 2 hours, and just skipping on down here, we have a century, so 100 years worth of video is uploaded every 10 days at YouTube. So there's a tremendous amount of content over there on YouTube that is just constantly growing. But what we see then is that combination of a large number of visitors and a large amount of content is that we see users on YouTube spending a total of 2.9 billion hours a month watching video. So what that means is that the audience over there is very engaged. So it's a different way of presenting content. Next slide. So what does that mean for you? Well, there's a big opportunity here for you to engage your audience. So you have a captive audience, and there's a unique way for you to create quality content and engage that audience. So this isn't like television advertising, and that's a lot of times, especially in the manufacturing industry, we see people kind of going, like if they make the move to YouTube, like they want to start doing videos, they kind of treat it like it's a television ad, but it's not. You're not, this isn't just a commercial spot between things that people are watching. Like they're going there to engage and watch your content. So, one of the questions then is, well, I've heard it always has to be 30 seconds long. Is that true? Do we have to tell everything in 30 seconds? And our answer here at SageRock is always that a video can tell a story, all right? So you tell the story first. And yes, shorter is sweeter because it's easier to get people to watch a minute-long video than it is for them to sit there and watch an hour, but we do see that that is trending longer now. But we say to focus, don't just box yourself in by doing a 30-second video, but focus on the first 15 seconds of your video. So that first 15 seconds is when people make up their mind whether or not the entire video. So you have to captivate them and get them right there. So to tell a story, you're going to engage your customers. You want to be able to educate your customers. You want to differentiate yourself from your competitors and other online videos. You want to be entertaining and be different. And so on the right-hand side here, I believe John said that we'll be sending this along to you afterwards. But on the right-hand side here, I like to use the Will It Blend people, because the Will It Blend guy, he sells a blender, and it's a blend tech blender, and it's just a blender. And I like this analogy because a blender is the most boring, like, household kitchen utensil you could possibly have. Like, mine sits in a cupboard, and I only pull it out like once or twice a year to make a margarita, And so it's just kind of a common household item. And this guy, he's created a YouTube kind of video show where he blends everything. He'll blend your iPhone. He'll blend, if you can shove it in a blender, he's going to blend it with his blender. And it's entertaining, it's fun, and he has a great audience and a huge following over at YouTube. And since he did this, he's seen his sales increase by 700%, which was 5 times the company's old record. So I like this because it shows that, a lot of people think of their products as boring, especially, in the manufacturing industry. I've heard numerous people say, hey, what's so special about what I have, And you might not think of it like that, but video allows you to think about your product and present it in a different way that is fun and is engaging. So keep that in mind as you move forward. So how do you measure your success? So over at YouTube, when you sign up and you create your account for your company over at YouTube, you get what is called YouTube Insights. And these are basically statistics that will help you track your success or your failures over at YouTube. You'll learn more about your audience and get to understand how your videos work. So in the little screenshot that we have here, this is just one of many different screens and analytics that you get through YouTube, but you'll be able to find out how people found your videos. Did they find it by searching on YouTube? Did they find it because it was embedded in Google? Did they find it because it was embedded in somebody else's site? How many times was it viewed? Did they watch, the whole thing? Like, did your audience stay from beginning to end, or did they watch 2 minutes out of a 3-minute video and then leave? So you kind of get this information that can help you actually not only just track the success, but help you hone your video making skills. So if your first video doesn't do as well as you want it to do, you can look at the stats and start to understand why. And so I think that's important, and measuring everything online is very important. So YouTube allows you to do that nicely. Next slide. So the final thing here that I want to talk about is that currently, and this is a newer addition, is that if you're familiar at all with doing advertising with Google through the Google AdWords pay-per-click interface, which is a very common thing, they have now integrated YouTube directly into your AdWords account. So with the same kind of interface, you can now target people for videos, but in some unique different ways. So right now, what we're seeing here in our agency and across the board, as far as we can tell, is that this is currently the cheapest form of online advertising there is. So pay-per-click advertising used to be called like penny clicks because it was like penny advertising on the web, and we're literally seeing advertising for pennies again, and it's just built right into YouTube and AdWords. When you do this form of advertising, it ties directly into your Google Analytics, so you get more statistics like that, so you can kind of tie everything together to see how it works. And there are lots of different types of ads. So if you spend any time over at YouTube, I'm sure you've seen some of them. There's a big list of what they're actually called here, like in-stream, in-display, but those are kind of just made-up words that Google uses. So you can do like a pre-roll advertising. You can do banner ads next to it. You can, next to a video, you can pick your competitors' videos and feature your video right next to theirs. There are display advertising opportunities over on YouTube, as well as remarketing opportunities. So you can kind of say, hey, if somebody watched this particular video of mine, I want to follow them around with this particular ad that relates to that video. So there are a lot of different advertising opportunities that kind of blend right into YouTube as well, making it a very attractive marketplace. Next slide, please. So that was kind of YouTube in a nutshell. We're going to move on to the second piece here, which is SlideShare. SlideShare, in short, is the world's largest community for sharing presentations. If you spend any time on the web at all or do any sort of presentations or any sort of research, you've probably come across SlideShare. It has 60 million monthly visitors with 130 million page views every month, and it is one of the most visited 200 websites in the world. So we have a very big audience over here. It's very powerful, and they allow you to do a lot of different things. The number one thing that it was built off of was your ability to upload and share your presentations online. So one of the things that you can do, like we could share this presentation afterwards with the SlideShare account, and it can be shared and viewed by others there. Now they also allow you to upload other documents, so like Word documents, things like that, PDFs you can upload over there, and you can now also upload videos and webinars. So there's a variety of different things that you can do over here. So it accepts, like I just said, it accepts a variety of formats, but one of the most powerful things here is that it allows you to share your presentations publicly. So prior to SlideShare taking off, the most common thing would be like if we give a presentation somewhere and somebody's just like, hey, would you mind emailing me that presentation? And especially if you're doing like not a virtual seminar like this one, but if you're doing it in person, that can be very cumbersome if you're sharing with a room of 100 different people and each one is like, could you email me this? Could you email me this? And you have a stack of business cards and whatever. So you can, instead, you can be like, okay, I'm going to upload my presentation to SlideShare, and here I will I will post a link to it like on my blog or on my Twitter or something like that, and then you can just download it and read it at your leisure and share it with people that you think it might be interested in. Since that kind of took off, they've added different privacy controls over there. So now you can upload a presentation or documents, videos, etc., and choose who you share them with. You can share them publicly, of course, but you can share them strictly with clients. So you could do like, you can make a group for clients or colleagues. If you have an office, our office, some of our people work part-time from home, myself included, and so it's very nice to kind of be able to share stuff in the cloud but still keep it private to your organization. So you can do that, and you can share it just with like your intranets. So there's a lot of different options for how you share your information and who you share it with. So what are some of the benefits? So the number one thing that I see, I mean, aside from what I've already covered here, is that there's a huge untapped potential for SEO purposes. So SEO is search engine optimization, and that's, you know, where you can show up in essentially in Google results or, you know, Bing, that sort of thing. And SlideShare, we know, gets indexed by Google. So these, much like YouTube, your presentations can start to show up in the search engine results pages. So there's a lot of potential there for that. If you do any sort of presentations at all, one of the things that can really be beneficial is SlideShare can help you improve your presentation skills. Just strictly by looking at other people's presentations, going through their presentations on topics, you start to understand, you know, like what they did that worked and what they did that didn't work, and then you can kind of imitate that and build this sort of stuff into your own presentations. If you're active on SlideShare, now you can even get invited to speak based off of the presentations that people found. So you have a great presentation, you put it up there and you share it with your social networks. People find it and like it, and they can invite you to speak. I've seen this happen. I believe this actually happened to my boss. So get invited to speak. It's a great networking opportunity for you. It also ties together with Facebook, so you can share your stuff directly through Facebook. And now it's integrated and is becoming even more integrated with LinkedIn, which John's going to talk about here in a little bit, but LinkedIn actually purchased SlideShare, and so they are actually working towards integrating this much more fully. So I know there are sharing opportunities now. This can fit right into your LinkedIn feed, but I'm imagining there's going to be even more to come with this. And so in a nutshell, you can grow your professional network, and one of the things I know John's going to talk about blogging in a little bit here, but much like YouTube, you've seen YouTube videos embedded on other people's sites. You can also take your presentations or other people's presentations and embed these right into your blog as well. So it's a great way for you to kind of like store stuff in the cloud and share it with people on your various networks. Next slide. The final thing that I kind of want to talk about with SlideShare is one of their newest features. They call it Slidecasting. So essentially what it is you can take a presentation that's on SlideShare and then you mash that together with a podcast. So you can kind of like take a presentation and instead of just making it a flat presentation like a PowerPoint or a PDF that somebody can download, you can actually mix it together with an MP3, which is just an audio recording. And you sync those two together, and you can actually create a webinar on the fly. So you can create like on-the-fly webinars. You can record lectures, a multimedia slideshow. You can do in conjunction with YouTube. So there's a lot of things you can do to kind of just create a real dynamic, downloadable or listenable file here. And I just thought that was a really cool new feature that they had come out with, and it could be a great opportunity for the right social networker. I think I'm going to turn this over to John now, and John's going to talk to you about LinkedIn, and then he's going to talk about blogging, and then afterwards we're going to follow up with answering your questions. So, is that good, John?
Yeah, thank you very much, Greg.
Sure.
I'm going to cover, as Greg said, LinkedIn and blogging. So again, just an overview of what LinkedIn is. It's a professional social networking site. It's a virtual community for professionals. And it's probably, in my estimation, the most underutilized social media tool for business. Next to search engines, LinkedIn and LinkedIn groups are one of my biggest sources of activities and leads to my blog. And we'll talk a little bit later on how we can repurpose your blogging content into other social avenues, one of which is LinkedIn. Why use LinkedIn? A bunch of reasons. There's 200 million reasons right here. There's 200 million members worldwide. In the U.S., there's 74 million professional members in this country. There's 27 million company pages, and we'll get into company pages in a second as to what those are. And there's 1.5 million LinkedIn groups, and these groups are folks that want to talk about some very specific issues or industry things, and they get together and talk about those on a regular basis. LinkedIn for Business, again, why would you want to do it? You want to stay in front of your contacts, either existing customers or potentials. You can build thought leadership and credibility by being active in LinkedIn and LinkedIn groups and commenting and asking questions of the groups. LinkedIn groups share like interests outside your network. Again, you've got a good business network, but you're always trying to grow that network, whether they're for support group issues, new vendors, or again, new customers. And that's very, very important. We talked about company pages, and if you do nothing else today, if you have a LinkedIn page for yourself, go to LinkedIn pages, and up here under companies, you'll find about a company page. Click that button, and then it will take you through setting up a company page for your particular company. Why is that important? Well, because you can share news and updates. You have folks follow you in your company just like you do on Facebook. If people like you as you put things out, you'll get posts from that, so that they'll be able to follow you. You'll be able to share product and services information that you offer. You can get recommendations from customers that they can go up and recommend you. And then obviously you can connect with customers and potential customers. Very important. And again, it takes about 5 minutes to do. I put up ours just to show you what can happen, but it's very simple to do. And if you do nothing else, please do that. That will give the company page a place so that if they're searching, again, it's all indexed by keywords, that you'll be able to get some traffic to your company page. The reach of LinkedIn is phenomenal. I have, as of about 2 weeks ago when we put this presentation together, I have 914 personal connections on LinkedIn that either I've reached out to or people who have read some information on my blog or wherever and found me via LinkedIn, wanted to get together with me. 914 is not a big number, but when you consider those 914 friends of mine, professional friends of mine, have the reach of getting to almost 13,100,000 other professionals, that's a pretty impressive number. And I think we all have to realize that impact, again, if you say the right thing, you have the potential I have the potential of getting to 13 million other people. We talked about LinkedIn groups. There's 1.5 million groups. Why would you join? Well, because again, those groups participate in very specific conversations about certain products, certain services. Here's a sample of my LinkedIn page, and I believe that LinkedIn limits you to join 50 groups. And again, don't go by the numbers. What I suggest is you start and do a couple small ones first, and then go from there. you can go right up here under the search engine. The search, it works just like Google. If you're interested in, again, the hardware industry, just that you can put in national hardware or hardware, and search, and it will give you all the related LinkedIn groups that are available or that are there, and it will give it to you in ascending order from the largest size to the smallest size. And again, you can join. Some of the groups are open, some of them are closed, and you have to be you have to apply for them, and they let you in. But again, you can see I've got some that are industry related. I've got some that are strategic related to our industry. But it's very important that you join these groups and identify who you want to go after. Why? Here's an example: doors and window manufacturing. You wouldn't think that would be a big group. There's almost 11,000 people that belong to this who have great interest in doors and windows. These are manufacturers, these are contractors, these are distributors or dealers. What's important about this is not only when you post, if you have something related to the doors and windows marketplace, when you post that, it goes out to all those 10,744 people. That's important. What's more important is that you can go through that list of 10,700 people if you want to, and if you say somebody that you really want to talk to or ask them a question, whether it's a vendor or a potential customer or whatever, you can send them an email via LinkedIn and say, hey, we belong to the same group, doors and windows, and I have a question for you on X. And again, you try to engage them and try to get them talking to you, and a lot of times what we have found is that we take conversations offline that people want to call, and we give us phone numbers, or we give another email address if we can take them offline. But you have the ability in this particular case for the doors and windows to get to almost 11,000 people that like to talk about doors and windows. That's a key, and with all these LinkedIn groups, what you need to do is, again, you need to participate. You need to first join a couple groups. Second, look and monitor the conversations so to get a feel for what's being said, what's being asked. And if you have something positive to contribute, then contribute. Don't try to sell them stuff. Most of the things that are on here are questions about this, that, or the other thing. If you have expertise or you can direct people to something, give that out, because those folks will then appreciate you as a thought leader, and when the time comes, they'll come back to you and engage you in another question. And there's no reason why you can't put out questions yourself, surveys, ask questions of the group about X, Y, and Z. And more importantly, too, if you can't find in the 1,500,000 groups that are there, that you can't find one that talks about a specific subject, you can start your own, which is again very, very important. And again, build your own following. I'm going to switch gears now and talk about blogs. I hope most of you know what blogs are, but we'll give you a quick overview. It's a form of social media. It's a website that allows individuals and groups and companies to share information in long form on a regular basis, as opposed to Twitter, where you have 140 characters. It's considered owned media. Again, the content that you have on your blog site is yours. What we have up here now is a sample of a page off of our blog. What's nice about the blog is you can create e-newsletters. If you want people to sign up for newsletters, they can search. If you've got several posts, I've got about 600 of them up there right now over the last 3 years. If you search on a topic, whether it's brand positioning, trade shows, whatever, put the keywords in. Again, it will search out and bring up all the relative posts that I've done over the years on a subject matter, again, which is important for everybody. You can have a space about me as to who, what, where, when. If I can go back here or not here. There we go. Sorry. About me. You can have contact information. We do industry market overviews and make those available up here as well. We give them another option to sign up for our newsletter. We do podcasts as part of our ongoing program with Tradesman Insight, and we put the podcast up here as well. And again, we have a place to list our services. Again, it's important. Blogs in our social media world, and it should be in your social media world, if you're going to do a blog, it really should be the hub of all your social media activities. Again, other than establishing yourself as a thought leader, when you develop a blog, you need to keep the focus as narrow as possible. Those are the type of blogs that generate traffic. The more general the blog, the less traffic, because people aren't looking for that kind of information. They're looking for kind of specific information. Don't try to sell on blogs. That's a natural tendency. Social media is a whole different psyche, if you will, when you're going to market. This is not an e-blast program that you can put out and put the features and benefits and ask them the call to action to go here, there, or the other place. You want folks to think, or when you're doing a blog post, think in terms of the potential reader and answer the question, what's in it for me? And again, there's nothing saying you can't occasionally put in a post about something that you do, but more importantly, if you want people to continue to read your blog, you need to give them meaningful content all the way through. Key questions when you're thinking about starting a blog. Again, who is your audience? The key there is again, you need to define that audience very narrowly. Who's competing for your audience attention? Are there forums? Are there websites? Are there other online activities that are competing? Because again, people's time, they only have so much of it. So we need to, who's competing for it? What do you want your blog's focus to be? Again, the narrower the better. What goals are you trying to achieve? Again, are you trying to build a mailing list? Are you trying to bring on thought leadership? What are your main objectives for doing this? And then how are you going to measure those goals? And the nice thing about social media, Greg went through it with YouTube, and there's metrics. We can measure things all the way through. LinkedIn, Facebook, blogs are the same way. So there are goals and ways for us to do this. PMPA is a trade association. Again, they're very focused on machining. They're also a client of ours, but they started their blog about 2 years ago, and they talk about things, industry-related things like quality issues, production issues, regulatory issues, both from the legislation as well as the OSHA type things, state of the industry, those types of things. And they have averaged, they're averaging now somewhere between 600 and 900 page views every day, and they're becoming a thought leader in the metalworking industry. They by far are one of the smaller associations in the country, but yet they have been able to reach out and have a lot of people following them on a regular basis, which is, again, part of the thought leadership thing. There's some pros of starting a blog. Again, you establish a brand as a thought leader, which we've talked about. You share your professional knowledge with personality, and that's important. Blogs have to show the human side of who's doing it. It has to be more conversational. Again, it can't be the feature benefit things that us marketing people normally do. It's not a traditional marketing venue. Again, it creates a central hub for your social media efforts. Again, we repurpose all our blog posts. We put them on Facebook. I tweet them out on a regular basis, and I put it on LinkedIn, and I also share it with the appropriate LinkedIn groups. So again, the blog post is just not here. It's used in several different places. You start to build relationships with folks, because again, people start following you on a regular basis, which is very, very important. But and you can use it to support other marketing initiatives on your website. On our website, for example, on our homepage, we have the last 3 current blog posts are automatically on the bottom right-hand part of the page, so that people go to our website. It highlights our blog, and it also highlights the last 3 posts. So it's important that you look at that. And the size of your organization doesn't affect the quality of your blog. I think, and I keep telling smaller organizations, smaller companies, that just because you're not the GMs of the world or the GEs of the world doesn't mean that you can't carve out a niche of thought leadership within a specific category. So size doesn't matter, content does. And again, if you've got a lot between your ears and a lot of good market knowledge, this is a great place, a great way to share that knowledge. So what do you ask when you're thinking about doing a blog? Who will be responsible for the oversight of the blog? Very key. There's got to be a point person within your organization who can be responsible for the blog. It doesn't mean that he or she has to do every blog post. It should be a team effort between sales, marketing, engineering, customer service. They all should have a role here. This person's responsibility would be to help identify categories and roles, and set up an editorial calendar for everyone to follow. Do you have time to blog? Again, if you blog once a month, it's going to be hard to start building a relationship with anybody. It's just like dating. I mean, you've got to be on somewhat of a constant schedule. We suggest that you blog at a minimum once a week, ideally 2 or 3 times a week, although that's going to be somewhat hard for people to get up and running, but it's not impossible. So your initial concept should be at least once a week. And all the blogs don't have to be original content. In other words, we get to sit down and think about, okay, what's my position on trade shows? Or what's my position on a new piece of legislation that's going out? I'm sure we all read, especially electronically, industry-related articles that affect us all. You could take one of those articles, make a comment, here's my position, here's how I see this being good, bad, or indifferent, put a link to that, and you have a post, and you can do that post in a matter of 15, 20 minutes. So our rule of thumb is if you're going to be doing 3 posts a week, which should be your goal, that 1 should be an original post, and 2 should be taking someone else's information, making comments on it, and pushing it forward. Can you repurpose existing content into blog posts? If you're a manufacturer, you've got tons and tons and tons of information in print form that can be used for blogs. Example, how-to articles, tips, white papers, competitive comparisons, what to look at when you're going to be purchasing wherever you're selling. There's all kinds of information that you have existing that can be repurposed into blog posts. How many posts can you commit to writing a week? Again, minimum 1 a week, ideally 2 or 3. And you have something interesting to write about. That's, again, most companies, as narrowly focused as they are, have issues that are relative to people who are using their products or services. And again, what resources do you have available? Again, you don't have to do this all by yourself. Engage folks, engage sales, engage engineering, engage customer service, as well as marketing. I haven't met a salesman yet that doesn't have an opinion. And again, ask he or she to share that opinion with the rest of us. Will you be able to get involved in other social media? As I said before, we link we use our blog post and link back to the blog on LinkedIn, Facebook, and Twitter, and those type of things. The tradesmen or the blogs again have metrics that you can find out as to where, for example, this is a search engine. How many people are coming to your blog from LinkedIn, Twitter, Google, Facebook, so on and so forth. So there's a referring sites metrics, there's search engine terms as to what terms people are typing in Google or Bing to get to your site. There are links from other blogs. People who like you and follow you will start linking from your blog, from their blog to yours. And you also can find out the top posts, which again will give you some direction as to, okay, these topics seem to get the most traction in my audience. You should be writing probably more posts that relate to those types of topics. All right, we are done with the general presentation. Let me see if we can come up with any questions. All right, here, hold on just for a second. Question for Greg about YouTube for video. I hear a lot about how important editing is, and that if I'm going to edit a video, I need to buy a Mac. Is this true, or is there other ways of editing for YouTube videos? Greg, can you handle that?
Yeah, I think I can handle that one.
Okay.
So let's see here. Video editing is important, obviously, and I've heard the same thing. I actually know a ton of people that are like, I want to get into video, and the first thing that they do before they ever even shoot a video is they run out to the Apple store and buy a Mac because they've heard that that's what you need for video, and that's kind of pricey if you don't have one. And on top of that, the software doesn't come with it. So most people that are interested in Macintosh for video editing are interested in it for two reasons. There's iMovie, which is the cheaper version. It's, I don't know, it's pretty powerful. It's cool, but it also costs, I'm not sure the price on that, maybe $50 to $100, something like that. But most people could play around with it and get the hang of it. Professional people a lot of times use Macintosh. They use Final Cut Pro, but that's like $1,000 piece of software, and it's extremely advanced. I mean, you know, they teach multiple college courses on it. So if you're not that far, if you're just thinking about getting into YouTube, I'm here to tell you, don't need to go buy a Mac. If you have a Windows computer, which a lot of people do, I do. Most Windows computers now, I think they all come with Windows Movie Maker, and you know, Microsoft soft pedals it as like just a way to kind of make your family movies and stuff, but it has some nice little editing features into it. You can put your logo up there. You can, you know, you can make cuts, and you can edit the sound separate from the video, and so that's free and is pretty much on everybody's computer already, and it does a nice job. YouTube itself now has video editing built into it, so after you upload your video, you can go in and click on Edit Video, and it'll allow you to trim the beginning and the end. It'll allow you to make cuts. It'll allow you to you know, apply filters to the video. So there's a lot of stuff there, and that's built right into YouTube. If you have a little money, I think the price is around $50 or so, and you have a Windows computer and you're just like, Windows Movie Maker isn't cutting it, YouTube, I don't like their editing. There's a piece of software called Pinnacle Studio, and like I said, I think it's about $50, and that has a ton of editing features. It's pretty easy to get a hold of, or get the hang of. I would consider it similar to iMovie. And that'll work, you know, right on your Windows computer too. So editing is important. Getting good at editing can make or break a video, but you don't need to run out and buy a Mac.
Good, good. Great information. Thank you. How do you get people to respond to your articles and opinions in a blog? I guess one is we have to get them to the blog first, so using keywords to attract potentials are obviously going to be the most important thing for people to get there, especially from the search engines. And until you draw them out, I affectionately call, I have a lot of people that follow me, what I call them lurkers, and these lurkers will look and read your blog, but until they have a bad day or until you really hit a hot button, all of a sudden they'll come out of the woodwork and they'll start responding to you. And that's what you want to do. You draw them out by asking questions, by being conversational, and sometimes being controversial. That's important that we do it that way. So another question, I'm familiar with SlideShare, but I've never uploaded anything over there. What's to keep someone from just stealing my presentation that I work so hard on and passing it off as their own? That's a good question. How do they do that, Greg?
Well, my first thing is, and I've heard this a lot, and not just on SlideShare, but on other things too. I've been working on the internet for a long time now, and it's not surprising. A lot of people don't want to put stuff out there because they're so afraid that people are going to run away and steal all their stuff, all their hard work. Well, I personally say don't be afraid. Be flattered. It is possible. Like, it's entirely possible that someone might steal your presentation and go on the road and, I don't know, make a big deal out of it, whatever. But you know what? They are a fan. They're a fan of yours. They found you in the first place and liked your stuff enough to even try to steal it. I mean, you should be flattered. Joking aside, I mean, that's kind of how I approach it. But if that doesn't win you over as an argument, there's a couple of things you could do directly on SlideShare. So as you can see on the presentation that we've been giving today, down at the bottom, we have like our company logos down there. So we've kind of watermarked our presentation, so they are on every slide in the presentation. So would it be possible for somebody to steal it? Yes, but they'd have to go to some work to try and edit out all our contact information, all our logos and stuff like that. Additionally, SlideShare has, I mentioned before, some privacy controls. So you can actually change the permissions on your uploads as well. So by default, I believe, like if we were to upload a PowerPoint presentation, by default it's downloadable. So somebody can go find your presentation and then download it, and then they can play around with it in PowerPoint. But there is an option to not allow people to download, and so instead they can still share it, they can view it online, they can look at it and do whatever they do with it online, but they won't be able to download it to their computer. So that's another option if you're really concerned about it.
Okay, good. Good. Well, those are the only questions we had. On the back page here, again, my email address as well as Greg's. If you have any more detailed questions, if you think of after we get off this webinar, please contact either Greg or I. Would be happy to help you. Also, just as a reminder, we will be sending you a link to this presentation on SlideShare, so you can go up and download that or share that with other folks at your company. And you will also be getting a quick survey from us. Again, we'd like to know how we did, how we're doing, and more importantly, we know that in a 35 or 40-minute presentation, we cannot cover all 4 topics in great detail. We're asking you to rate the 4 topics that we talked about today as to if we were going to do a specific webinar on one of those subjects, which one would you prefer? So if you would take the time to do that, we appreciate it. It is now 50 minutes into the presentation, and again, we respect your time. Thank you for participating, and this now concludes the webinar. Take care.
Thank you, everybody.